Vision 2030 Jamaica aims to transform the island into a developed country through the support of all of us, using a shared set of goals and the core values of honesty, respect, love and cooperation. We can all share in the vision of creating economic independence. Hi there, I'm Adrian Atkinson, and in this edition of Jamaica Magazine, as we gear up to celebrate the anniversary of independence, we'll take a look at some important things we should all know about the Jamaican flag, one of the national symbols of independent Jamaica. Also on the pages, celebrating excellence in the civil service. Stay with us for our top news stories of the week and more on the other side of this break.
Know your numbers and control the keys to a healthier heart. Know the numbers for your blood pressure, cholesterol level, blood glucose level, and your weight and body mass index. Find out the risks they represent and what you need to do to stay healthy. Talk to your doctor and start making healthy lifestyle choices to prevent a heart attack or stroke.
The flag, as it is today, was adopted in 1962 as a national symbol when Jamaica gained its independence from Britain and represents the pride and joy of who we are, a sovereign state. More on the flag in this feature.
Heralding the birth of the new nation. The new flag of Jamaica raised.
Jamaica's national flag was first raised on Independence Day, August 6, 1962. It signifies the birth of our nation. The flag brings to mind memories of past achievements, and it's a powerful symbol of national pride. Jamaica gained independence in 1962, but from 1961, the matter of a national flag became a point of focus. From whence cometh our flag's design and symbolism? Let's look back on the journey to our flag.
To help us navigate this journey is logistics and protocol consultant Merrick Needham. Mr. Needham, how are you?
How are you, Alison?
I'm very good. In September of 1961, the then government held a competition to decide on a design for independent Jamaica's national flag. What happened to that design?
Well, someone won the competition. I don't know if we have any record of who it was. And what they decided on was a series of horizontal stripes in the colors that we still have today, black, green and gold. And this was then referred, because we were still at the tail end of being a British colony, to the British government, to the relevant authority there, for their okay on it. And they came back and said it was fine, it was perfectly okay, which it was from a technical point of view.
So if it was fine, why did they change it?
My recollection was that it was a Jamaican, when they said it was fine, who pointed out that Tanganyika, which is the mainland part of what is now Tanzania with the island of Zanzibar, Tanganyika had become independent about 6 months earlier. I suspect a lot of Jamaicans were very interested in Tanganyika. This man probably saw their flag and said, whoa, it's very similar to ours. It wasn't so similar that they could have been mistaken, but the pattern was exactly the same. It was just that some of their stripes were much narrower.
Which brings me to the big question. How did we get from strikes to a cross to a saltire?
Well, the son of a Church of Scotland minister who was based in Jamaica at the time, and I remember him well, a man named Mr. McGee. The son says on the Google site recently that Bustamante, the then Premier, that Sir Alexander Bustamante, was chatting with Mr. McGee, who apparently was a friend of his, and said, we're going to have to change this flag. I don't know what we're going to do. Mr. McGee being a Scot, and the Scottish flag is a white saltire on a blue field, says, well, to himself at least, let's suggest a saltire.
So our Jamaican flag
So-
actually has some Scottish influence.
Well, not seen, but behind the scenes
Behind the
in the different
scenes.
sense of playing on the word, yeah.
Out of many one
Apparently,
people.
Out of many one people. I don't know how true this story is, but I think it's very likely because it is his son who tells it.
Oh.
So I think that's how we came by the concept of the saltire, which is rather unusual in relation to the colours that we have. And then we stayed with the three colours and they were fitted in 4 triangles around.
Do you feel that our national flag truly represents us as Jamaicans?
I think so, yes. It's the colour representation, and every youngster is taught this in school. And black, remember, has come from the stage where it was considered hardships to be overcome. And I think it's a good thing. It represents more the people because most of the people are black. And I think that it does represent us in the way in which the green and the gold are also described. It's attractive as a flag. It's dignified. I think it's an excellent national flag. And it's one of the most unusual, although it fits all the requirements of that type of flag. It's one of the most unusual in the world. It stands out. Everywhere you see it, you can't mistake it.
On August 6, 1962, the Union Jack, symbol of British dominance and colonial rule, was lowered for the last time, and the majestic black, green and gold, symbol of the newly independent Jamaica, was hoisted and unfurled before its overjoyed, expectant citizens. Perhaps the best known use of the flag is at a time of national rejoicing and triumph.
Sir Howard, I don't think you ever understood how influential you were on many of us.
When we gather like this to look back on a life well lived, we are presented with another opportunity to rethink our own approach to life, to re-examine our own motive for public service, and to reflect on the legacy we want to leave behind.
Inasmuch as Sir Howard was a teacher, he was also a gardener, a farmer, and a keeper of livestock, all of which he engaged in while at King's House.
Sir Howard never forgot his roots, his rural roots, always choosing to lead by example, and made King's House accessible to the people.
He was an honorary member of the Rotary Club of Kingston, and as a member, Mr. Speaker, from time to time, I recall Sir Howard saying to me, "Andre, come and pick me up at King's House, but don't bother with the security and the ADC. Just come and pick me up and let us fellowship as Rotarians at the club meetings." This is what I loved about Sir Howard, a man of the people and for the people.
Householders, business people, school administrators, protect yourself and your children from the chikungunya virus. Be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Chikungunya is a virus transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which breeds in and around your home, workplace, and school. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET. And if you're experiencing symptoms of chikungunya, a sudden high fever, headache, rash, nausea, pain, stiffness, or severe joint pains, see your doctor or go to the nearest health center.
The public sector is being improved, ushering in a new level of accountability and transparency, improved access to and better quality services. Apart from the use of technology, hard-working public servants are the people delivering these changes. We now share a story of one public servant making a difference.
They are brilliant, hardworking, efficient, a group of competent individuals who transform black and white into living glorious technicolor. They are public sector workers, the engine of government, developing the policies and executing the programs to keep the country running. Civil servants are on a mission to deliver quality service to all stakeholders, among them Enthros Campbell, Director of Production at the Jamaica Information Service, the 2013 Civil Servant of the Year. Ms. Campbell, you started in '95 as radio editor. What were some of your duties?
Well, I came in as you say, editor. I had to edit the scripts of the producers, but I also had my own beats. I had 3 ministers, Minister Paulwell, Agriculture Minister, and I had the Prime Minister. And I had to train the producers, because, you know, editing is not about just grammar and correctness, but also as it relates to content. Ensure that we have the right figures. If Minister says 2 million, we don't have 2 billion, and so on.
Having performed well in the position of radio editor, Ms. Campbell was promoted to the position of senior copy editor and later senior editor at the television department. The growth process continued in 2000 when she was asked to serve as the manager for the radio department. By then, her velvet voice was penetrating the airwaves.
Coming up, Water Ministry adopts zero tolerance approach towards excessive use of water during dry period.
I grew up listening to you on the radio when you had the Voice of Jamaica coming out with JIS programs. And when persons hear you on location, if they meet you in person, if you just say your name, they immediately recognize the voice.
To me, sometimes I'm surprised. I don't know, sometimes I'm really surprised, but sometimes it just motivates you and you say, boy, you know, you really are doing something good because people know of you, and it's a good feeling.
Since 2009, this hard-working civil servant has been serving as Director of Production at the JIS.
As Director of Production, I have direct responsibility for computer services, television, and radio.
She is also chairperson for the JIS's production meeting, where she ensures that the production arms of the agency disseminate information in a structured way.
Okay, morning everyone, and welcome again to another production meeting. Today we're going to be focused on the visit of the head of the IMF. As you know, she's visiting next week.
Well, as you instructed, we have already put a plan in place to do stories while the visit unfolds.
Enthros Campbell also represents the JIS on an interministerial committee organized by the Office of the Prime Minister. There, she coordinates all media activities for national events as well as state and official visits and funerals.
I coordinate on behalf of the agencies. I represent the agency on the interministerial committee, so I have to ensure that media is happy and that government is happy with how media operates.
She has the expertise. And JIS is always a very important component because we want media coverage, both internationally and locally. And so she either would coordinate the international press as well as the local press, accredit them and manage them.
Enthros is the calming individual on any committee. Enthros is not ruffled. She's quiet but effective and very professional.
Ms. Campbell was also chairman of the JIS's planning committee, which spearheaded the development of the award-winning photo album commemorating Jamaica's 50th anniversary of independence. The publication received the Bronze Award in the prestigious Mercury competition, beating out over 600 entries from 21 countries. The Chief Executive Officer of the JIS also presented her and the team with an Innovation Award for the publication. Ms. Campbell again struck gold when she and the planning committee conceptualized the annual JIS Heritage Essay Competition in 2011. Ms. Campbell, you are, should I say, multifaceted, because your job or what you do is not just limited to things you do here at the JIS. You're also una profesora de español. Tell us about it.
Yes, I teach Spanish. I'm a trained Spanish teacher, and while I'm here at the JIS, I still I still teach like on a Saturday. I teach at Mind on a Saturday, and I help students who are doing exams. Yo trabajo.
In February 1998, Ms. Campbell was an interpreter for journalists covering the visit of Fidel Castro to Jamaica, and 1 year later, she again provided her services at the G15 summit. Appropriate duties for the remarkable civil servant who completed a Bachelor of Arts in Spanish as well as a Master of Arts in Spanish Translation at the University of the West Indies. She also studied in Spain, Colombia, and Venezuela. Ms. Campbell's tour of duty would be incomplete had she not participated in outreach activities. She met as a child at the Mount Olivet Boys Home in Manchester, a childcare facility adopted by the JIS in 2009. And as an active member of the Kingston Open Bible Church, she teaches a Sunday school class and organizes Vacation Bible School for the children. For her hard work in the public sector, first as a teacher and then a media practitioner, Ms. Campbell received extra special recognition in 2013.
Our Civil Servant of the Year 2013, Entrose Angela Campbell.
When I got the award, I was like, I was surprised because the people who were with me, the other nominees, they were really well-respected civil servants who've been in the job for a while.
When we, reviewed the work, we also thought of her character and what she brings to the position. She inspires, she is, as I said, reliable. You ask her to get something done, she follows through. She communicates well, and she's just a good team member. She's a part of my dream team. Entrose is a shining example of hard work and dedication to national development. And we wanted to put her on a bigger stage. Yes, she is here at the GIS. She's associated with the brand. You hear her on radio. You see her occasionally on TV. But we wanted the public to know that these are the people who serve the nation in the public sector.
What would you say to civil servants? Some of them may feel a little dejected from time to time based on the current circumstances. What would be your advice to them?
Bloom where you're planted. You're here now, you don't know where you're gonna go, but if you want to move to somewhere else, you just have to be the best here. Because if you don't do well, nobody's gonna see you and he will recommend you.
What about your vision for the civil service?
I want them to get better pay, of course. I want them to be paid better. But I also want them to be more professional. I mean, all around. I know there are lots of professionals in the civil service. The worldview about civil servants is that they are just not good. I want that to change.
Entrose Campbell, Director of Production at the Jamaica Information Service, Civil Servant of the Year 2013, transforming and renewing for a better tomorrow.
Perfecto.
Each time you're not paying full attention to the road environment, the greater your chances of getting in a crash like that. Plan routes to avoid focusing on GPS systems, prevent children from roaming in motor vehicles, turn down the volume of car stereo systems, pull off the roadway if you have to use mobile devices, do not read, watch television or eat while driving, avoid multitasking, and keep conversations with other passengers to a minimum. Whether you walk, ride or drive, avoid potentially fatal distractions.
Scores of talented Jamaicans from across the island vied for the top honors in the JCDC's Big Stage Competition National Finals, held on July 20 at the Ranny Williams Entertainment Center. In case you missed this fun-filled family event put on as part of Jamaica Festival 2014, here are some highlights.
in my girl.
There's times when I want something more, someone more like me. There's times when this dress rehearsal seems incomplete, but you see the colors in me like no one else, and behind your dark glasses, your
A lunchtime, and right now me hungry for mine. 12:30, that's the time. Too long me away just to get my break. Right now me feel like resign. A lunchtime, 12 o'clock, and me there from 9. Mind pon the money and the food pon my mind. Slave the mass, slave mankind. Right now me fed up.
beat the conga, not to come me, love me yard. Beat the drum, conga, not to beat the drum, boom. Beat the drum, conga, not to beat the drum. Make all but my people jump a ground. Beat the drum, conga, not to beat the drum, boom. Beat the drum, conga, not to beat the drum.
So you can join our side. You're in the mood. I know you're in the mood. Oh yeah. Personally. Oh yeah.
Well, you only need the light when it's burning low.
Truly spectacular talent there. But not to worry, you and your family can share in more fun and excitement on Sunday, August 3. So come out and enjoy the Dutchy Food Festival at the Randy Williams Entertainment Center with live cooking demonstrations, cooking competitions, celebrity cook-off and mixology competitions.
Our panel of judges, thank you so much. The entire JCDC staff, you the true stars, the audience.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. Acting Agriculture Minister Derek Kelly this week assured the country that Jamaica was not experiencing a shortage of domestic food supply despite the continued drought conditions affecting the agriculture sector.
Let me assure you that as far as our staples, tubers, bananas, plantains, the country has enough supplies. Obviously, vegetables will be more susceptible to the impact of the drought, and our own projection is that we will see about a 20% fall off in production for the July to September quarter.
To address that, he said the ministry was providing $30 million to help increase production in parishes least affected by the drought and another $3 million to help farmers affected by losses due to fires. Minister Kelly said members of parliament had also been arranging the trucking of water to farmers to save crops and livestock that were being stressed by the drought conditions.
The ministry will make every effort possible to ensure that the nation's food supply is not compromised, nor the growth momentum in this vital sector reversed.
In the meantime, the Water Minister Robert Pickersgill said the authorities would be taking advantage of the low water levels to desilt the Hermitage Dam. While answering questions in Parliament Tuesday, he said the exercise would increase the dam's water storage capacity so it could hold more when the rains finally come.
We expect to have extra storage capacity of 120 million gallons to 180 million gallons, depending on final specification of the RFP and dam security. This amounts to an additional 30 to 60 days worth of storage facility.
And earlier, Local Government and Community Development Minister Noel Arscott appealed to persons to stop lighting fires outside as the continued drought increases the chances of these fires raging out of control.
Whatever the reason, we would like to say that at this time it is irresponsible
for persons to go out and light fires.
The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management also sent out an advisory urging persons to take steps to prevent bushfires. That includes not lighting fires in open spaces, keeping matches and naked flames out of the reach of children, and ensuring that cigarettes are completely put out before disposal. Persons were also urged to call the nearest fire station immediately to report any fires in their area. Meanwhile, the Maypen Fire Station has received a new state-of-the-art fire truck that comes with special features that make it suitable to deal with the parish's terrain. The fire truck is among 3 which the government recently bought at a cost of $133 million. Local Government and Community Development Minister Noel Arscott said it showed government's commitment to improving the brigade's capacity to respond to fires.
I want to say that we have already ordered 3 more, and we are getting 2 from the Japanese. So come next year, we are going to have an additional 3 units. I want also to say that we have authorized emergency expenditure for us to upgrade those other units that we have that needs repair.
The Health Ministry this week sought to reassure the public that there was still no local spread of the chikungunya virus, although a second imported case of the virus had been confirmed in Jamaica. The ministry is urging persons who have traveled to countries affected by the chikungunya virus to visit their doctor or the nearest health center immediately after arriving in Jamaica. Information Minister Senator Sandra Faulkner, meanwhile, encouraged individuals to protect themselves by destroying mosquito breeding sites in their environs.
Anything that water can settle in. If it is a container, drum, or a barrel, we can cover them. We can keep them dry. We can clean them regularly. And if it's an old tire, we can fill them with soil and we can punch holes in those tires. Or we can recycle or dispose of them in another way.
The first set of tablets on the government's $1.4 billion Tablets in Schools pilot project have been presented to teachers at 7 institutions. The 184 tablets are currently being used to train teachers ahead of the full rollout of the program in September.
We have very high expectations in terms of the impact that this project will have on both the teachers and the students, and in fact the communities, because each school will become a hotspot and persons in the communities will be able to access the internet if they have devices that are so enabled.
And finally, the Ministry of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining will be implementing a pilot project to improve access to information and communications technology, ICT. Portfolio Minister Philip Paulwell says the project will focus on the use of TV whitespace, that is, unutilized frequencies allocated to the broadcast sector, to expand access to the internet.
This, I believe, will go a far way in reinforcing our efforts to enhance internet connectivity and other forms of digital communication to our major population centers, as well as townships and villages all across Jamaica.
And those were some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
We're now at the close of Jamaica Magazine for today. Thanks so much for watching. It was good sharing this half hour with you. Join us again tomorrow for more. Tell us what you thought of the show. Send an email to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm or hit us up on Twitter @JISNews. And our website, jis.gov.jm, remains a constant portal for the very latest government information. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Edwin Atkinson. Until next time, stay safe during this period of celebration.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.